I think what we want to do is just, we're going to keep it real simple, actually. The conversation really is just more about the beginning. If you remember what happened at the beginning, what was going on in your brain, because, you know, at the end, the way I saw it, I mean, you know, it's 94. It wasn't like your first rodeo. You know, you'd now won in Edmonton, now you won in New York. And then all of a sudden I come along, like, you had a lot of choices. It wasn't like you had to go and, you know, do a deal with Steiner. You were very picky. In my mind, I'm like, I don't know how we're going to get a deal done with him, because it wasn't like you had a lot of people you were looking to do deals with. You were extremely picky. There were not a lot of people sitting at the dining room table, and I'm like, how am I going to get in here? So, like, how was that on your perspective? Because this is the first deal we'd ever done. You know, we were so nervous. We thought this was going to be a debacle.
Yeah, I think for me coming to New York, for everything I did was trying to really kind of get to know the people. First and foremost, and as we know in New York, it does have a reputation at times of being a tough place to do business, and so I think for us, we just treaded slowly. We really got to know the people that we did business with first and foremost, and see if we could develop some kind of relationship there. And I think the same thing happened with you in your business there when you approached us to come on board, and I think we took our time and got to know each other a little bit and spent some time together, and felt that your background and where you'd come from and your love and passion of the sports in all the games, not just hockey but in all the sports, kind of was a sign for us that you know, you were really passionate about what you were trying to create. And it was, you know, easy for me. I was living in the city. I could go down to the office down, I think it was 27th Street or 29th Street.
Right in, right near the garden, yeah.
Yeah, so it was convenient, and it was well executed when I did come in, and it seemed to be a good, you know, it seemed to be a good fit for both of us. You know, back then the industry was really just probably starting to.
Nobody heard of hockey collectibles.
Yeah.
No, hockey collectibles. I mean,
yeah,
it was. Wasn't like,
yeah. So I think it was. We got in together very early in the infancy of the whole industry, and together I think we, you know, started something that obviously has been a very successful enterprise.
Well, first of all, we're very grateful. I mean, I know that, you know, you were a huge part of the cornerstone for us. So, which, you know, I tell people all the time, it's not only that it was you, but it was you, more than just a hockey player. We learned so much from you. But the aha moment, and first of all, you know, you're very lucky. I mean, Mary Kay really the glue. You know, a lot of insanity. You know, when you win a cup, all that, she was the glue. Very focused, very disciplined, and you know, smart. You know, to kind of be able to see what was really doable, not pushing the issue too far, yet making sure that things were done correctly. So I have a lot of love for her as well. But the aha moment for me was very simple. We sent a box to Detroit because we needed these things for a couple of big customers. And I'll never forget, we shipped it to you. And we always ship things to players, and they always screw them up. And so the next day, I said, did you send the stuff to Mark? Are we getting it back? He says, yeah. I said, you sure? And then we called you, say, did you get the box? And you said, yeah, I opened the box myself. And that was amazing. Is you open the, you know, most players, like, you went down to the hotel, you opened the box, you signed the stuff, you then called my guy at the time and made sure everything was done right. Like, that was the kind of guy you were. We went crazy that day in the office. We could not believe that, A, we shipped you something, you did everything, you signed it, and then called us to make sure that everything was done the right way, and then sent it back yourself. We were just, we were out of, that was the aha moment, like, we love this guy. Because nobody would ever treat us with that respect.
Well, I think anytime, for me anyways, when you enter into you know, a relationship, whether it's working or personal, you gotta do the right thing. I think it was obvious that it was something that needed to be done, and to me it didn't seem like I was doing anything out of the ordinary, extraordinary to do it, something that you know, hopefully someone would do for me as well. So, but I think those kinds of moments and build are the things that, you know, the relationships are built on is trust. So I mean, you could figure out that I was there to try to be a partner with you, and you could trust me, and that's how solid relationships are built on. And you know, here we are, you know, 2012, 2013, and sitting in the office and doing stuff for charity and trying to raise money for charity. I mean, so I think it just becomes a lifelong endeavor of how to try to help and create the business, and it's been a great ride.
There's always been charity on your mind. It's something that early on we always made sure we team up with you on. But was it hard, like when you think about Tomorrow's Children's Fund, you think about the hospital and that whole exhibit there and your involvement with it? Was it hard to give up all your personal belongings and all that? I mean, some of your coolest stuff is in that.
Yeah, well, the Tomorrow's Children Fund, they built the Skyway, and it was an incredible way for me to, or for a place for me to put all the stuff that I collected over the years, and pictures and moments and rings and trophies and sweaters and helmets and gloves and sticks, and otherwise it'd all be just kind of sitting somewhere and never to be seen. So to be able to do it at the Children's and Women's Pavilion, the Skyway connects the two buildings, and they called it Mark Messier Skyway. So that was obviously a huge honor and a great way to you know, show the storyline of my career from the time I was a young kid to the time of my retirement, and we still try to put in new exhibits once in a while, and hopefully going to try to get all my rings in there in the near future.
It's amazing. How many rings are there?
Well, I got you know, the 6 Cup rings. I got 3 or 4 Stanley Cup or Canada Cup rings, some All-Star stuff. So there's a collection of rings over there. So I try to get that collection in there, and
a lot of jewelry.
Yeah, and
that's well deserved.
Yeah, but it's a great way to kind of for the kids that are in the hospital, and then their families that are waiting for their kids in the hospital to be treated, to somewhere to go and some reprieve. So it's turned out to be an amazing good event. So
in closing, what's important to you these days? You know, you had an amazing career. Obviously, you've done amazing things off the field. But what's getting you up in the morning and getting you excited to wake up every day?
Well, still working a lot with the Rangers, coaching the youth hockey. I got a 7-year-old girl, 9-year-old boy, and they're both playing, involved in all the sports and dance and horseback riding, and so being a dad and parent, and of course, you know, I got my older son Lion, who's 25 now, and he's doing great, and then you just try to figure out how you can help out the charities and the kids in different ways, and make yourself useful.
Well, you always manage to. I don't think you have to try that hard. You always get yourself in the middle of it whenever it happens. But if you've been in the middle of this for me, I mean, you've been just a godsend, you know, for this company, and not only the playing and the signing, but just the way you handle everything off the field. I mean, it could be just the way you treated your teammates, the way you treated us, and the way you created that inner circle. I mean, the thing I remember the most is just the joy that you had this group of people that you cared about the most, and you enabled us to have joy with your joy. We celebrated with you.
Yeah.
And that was just amazing to me. I mean, I remember at your 50th birthday party, I'm like, my wife's like, you know every person in this room? I'm like, yeah, we've been traveling around for the last 15 years. I'm like, I've been trying to tell you, you should be coming. I mean, but you know, but we're all friends. We've all traveled, Hall of Fame, All-Star games.
Yeah. And
you always organized everything to a T. So you know.
Well, we had a lot to cheer about and a lot to party about back then. You know,
you never disappointed.
Teams were doing well, and of course, winning the Stanley Cup was a good time.
So thank you so much for being a part.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you.